And we continue to celebrate our students because they've worked so hard during the year of 2022 today. And now we continue rather to talk to that is our next top learner, top student, number 7, that is Lucia Shimangwe. A very good morning to you, Lucia. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, good. I'm fine. You're good as well?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Fantastic. Lucia, I think we're very interested and very keen on getting to know you as well. But let's start off with you telling us about yourself. Give us some background. Tell us at least one thing that we don't know about you.
Okay. Well, I'm a sociable 17-year-old that resides in Oshakati. I come from a school where discipline and spirituality are highly practiced. So that has nurtured me into becoming a very self-sufficient and self-motivated individual. And I'm passionate about student leadership. I aspire to motivate and uplift students nationwide.
That's so nice, Lucia. Top number 7, that's a very, very, very prestigious spot to occupy as well. Would you say that, you expected it, or was it a surprise? How does it make you feel?
Now, actually, I didn't expect to even make it to the top 20. It came as a surprise because I really I had to overcome a lot of hurdles during the examination process and preparation. So I didn't think I was fit for that position.
Is it? Well, look at you. Look at God, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think at the same time, in the same breath, we want to know what study methods you apply. And I think this is a very important question we've been asking all the students we've been speaking to this morning because, there are some other students that could be taking notes right now and, they can walk away with a little bit of advice here from you. So what study methods worked for you?
Okay. When you're a registered candidate, I think it's quite imperative to then evaluate and consider the type of study methods you are to use during and before the exams, so you don't end up cramming your mind with lots of details and information at the end of the year. So the study methods I've applied was one where you have to practically become your own teacher. So it's called the SQCR method, which stands for Survey, Question, Read, and Recite and Review. So one has to first formulate details of what they already know about the certain topic they want to study, and then they systematically rule out all the key aspects and objectives that they need to know to master the topic. So then throughout you question, read, and then you recite to actually test if you actually have met all the competencies of the topic. So then I did that throughout my whole academic year in grade 10 and then grade 11. And then all I had to do for the exams, during the exams, was to skim through my textbooks, just like one would read a magazine. So it was just that simple. So this study method could not have worked any better for me because it majorly improved my self-sufficiency and it made me more disciplined. And I didn't have to do a lot and cram my mind with information during the exam because that would be disastrous.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So if we talk about, you briefly spoke about your parents earlier, but what contribution have they made to the success of this number 7 spot of yours, and how have they stayed behind you?
Okay, so parents are, I think, one of the key aspects for someone to land a spot in the top 20. So my parents did a lot. The parent-learner communication, that was well established at the beginning and just throughout. So then them getting to know my career interests, understanding which topics or subjects that I didn't find that quite easy to comprehend, and then just them keeping in touch with my subject teachers, that did the most. And I think parents should be motivators. And mind you, when parents are very powerful cheerleaders. I think when it's your own mom or dad keeping you on your feet and pushing you to study all the time during the period where learners have to study at home, it has a more impactful effect than learners getting motivation anywhere else.
Indeed. So now I don't know whether you, Lucia, have heard of the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. So we've now spoken about the very important role that parents have to play. But what about the role of the school and your teachers in this achievement?
Okay, the teachers and the school at large have really been the academic compass throughout the whole preparation for the exams, in the sense that it was through their guidance and direction. I mean, this was my first national exam. I didn't really know how it felt or how it feels. So then the formalists that have wrote the NSSCO exams, they told me how it's going to feel, how you're going to do, and all those things. It was only because of their guidance and direction that I could have maneuvered smoothly throughout the whole year and prepared for the exams. The teachers really availed themselves. So even during the exam period, they just gave those last-minute classes just to make sure I was really polished for the exams. So they really did a lot.
Indeed. So let's talk a little bit about some relaxation tips during this time. So yes, you touched on, not cramming your mind. You've touched on, a lot of research and. But during this time, what did you do to relax a little bit? Did you go read? Did you sleep? Did you nap? What did you do? Talk to us about that as well.
Okay, I think sleeping is very necessary for someone who is in an examination period. It gives the mind time to process everything that you've given. So before writing an exam, you make sure you get enough sleep. I think that was the relaxation I got. I didn't read any other materials because I knew that would divert my attention. I didn't play or have any external communications because I just knew that was going to divert my attention from what was really important to me and what was really dire to me at that moment, which were my exams. So I just focused on that. And then so just study, sleep, study, sleep, study, sleep, just like that. Okay. That is the sequence I followed.
Okay, Lucia. Lucia, what are you passionate about? If we're talking about, what industry or field you want to venture in the future, what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about medicine. I would love to become a doctor in the future, but I'm also quite passionate about student leadership, like I've mentioned. So I think the voice of the youth or students in general should be heard always. So I aspire to advocate for students' rights. I aspire to be their voice when they can't speak for themselves.
Okay, Lucia, fantastic. So at the same time, I think, we all face some sort of challenges, and when we talk about some academic challenges, were there any that you faced during the year? And if so, how did you sort of remedy it?
Okay, so during my studies, I really, really struggled with overcoming what is called perfectionism. I would say this was a major hurdle because it set me back a little bit and it was like a stumbling block. So then let me give an example, let's say. For instance, I was to write a series of tests. And let's say tomorrow I write chemistry, and then the day after I write biology. So then obviously being highly ambitious, I would aim to get 100% in both of them, right? So then let's say I get my results for chemistry after writing chemistry, and it's a 98. And then I have to study for biology. Instead of studying for biology the whole day, I would rather sit down and ask myself, where did the 2% go? 98 is not enough for me. Why did I fail? I would sit down and criticize myself, and that would just pull me down because then I still have that biology test to write tomorrow. So what would I give the biology? So that was a major setback for me because I just expected myself to always get 100%. And this, I would advise everyone that is going to sit for this exam, or just in general, this is for everybody in general. We're not always going to be perfect all the time. We're going to have some limitations in there, but that's not an excuse for you to just sit down and relax and say, no, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to get 100%. We should always give our best all the time, but we shouldn't always expect ourselves to be perfect. So then I just had to sit down with myself and just accept the fact that I was not going to be perfect. And I just put in the hard work, and here I am at number 7. So unexpected.
Oh, fantastic. So, Lucia, would you say there's a possibility you might be open to tutoring other students, should and if you find the time to do so?
Most definitely. I think that is even, I would say, a method of improving oneself, because we all learn from, I think throughout the year I've learned from teaching others, because then I would learn some new tips. As I taught the other learners, they would also share some tips with me that I would apply and that would work perfectly. So then we just exchanged information. So when you're a teacher, you're at the same time a learner, I would say, and you just improve your knowledge.
Okay, fantastic. I think to some people listening right now, some students, I think that might have had been music to their ears. So it's good to know. So don't be surprised when people come flocking to you now, ne?
Sure.
Yeah, so Lucia, at the same time, it's the second day of the year. We're only 2 days into the new year. And apart from, your academic goals, did you set some resolutions for yourself? Do you want to share them with us?
Yeah. I would share a few. So this year, from my past experience, like last year, I've had to learn with the fact that I wasn't always going to be perfect, you see. So then I'm using that I'm taking that as a positive way to maneuver throughout the whole year today. So I'm just going to give in my best, but I'm not going to expect perfectionism, so I just don't sit depressed with myself and with my failure. But then I'm going to use my failure to sort of uplift myself and others.
Oh, fantastic. Such a sweetheart. So I want to know this morning, some of your favorite subjects. Let me guess, it probably includes mathematics, ne?
Definitely.
Okay. So if that's like one of your favorite subjects, what was one of your least favorite subjects?
I would say I didn't have a least favorite subject.
Oh, okay.
No, I enjoyed every single one, but then math was my favorite.
Okay, fantastic, Lucia. So I quickly want to also touch base on. I would need you to share like a word of advice that is for the past grade 11 students, the class of 2022. For those who made it, those who didn't do too well, some encouragement there, and at the same time for the class of 2023. What do you want to say to them?
Okay, I want to say that I think it's high time that our country's passing rate experience an ascent. So I would advise everyone to not be self-defensive, but to develop a sense of accountability and self-responsibility, to do more research on their studies, and to be committed and devoted to their studies, instead of indulging themselves in external affairs, which doesn't give you much merit. And I want to say to everyone that didn't make it, I want to say, okay, I think there's a tendency of people thinking that if you don't make it to university, it's a failure. If you don't become a doctor or a teacher or a nurse or an engineer, then you're a failure. I mean, there are so many diverse courses that you could try out. Some people are so good at art, but they still have not discovered that because you've not been exposed. So my advice to everyone is expose yourself to the different things that you like, and then you might land yourself a good job in that industry. I mean, just because you're not good in academics doesn't mean that's the end of it. You have a skill. I mean, everyone is gifted with a skill. So you find your skill and then you maneuver through it and then you make it.
Indeed. Oh, Lucia, thank you so much. Why don't you do a little outro for me there and just say, I'm Lucia Shimangwe, top 7 over and out, something like that.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucia Shimangwe, top 7 candidates, NSSCO. Never downgrade yourself, but through every circumstance, elevate yourself. Good morning, Namibia.
Lucia, thank you so much for chatting with us. Congratulations once again, and we'll be keeping our eye on you to see what other further contributions you will have to make to the country in the future. Have a good one, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Okay, you're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, there you have it, top 7 in Namibia. We've brought it to you, top 4, top 6, top 7, top 15. We are bringing the kids to you this morning because it is every day. So many reasons to celebrate them, and it's, so many reasons for us to feel proud, even though they're not our very own. But, there's some sense of pride that really comes through hearing how these kids worked their butts off to achieve what they had to achieve, So that was Lucia Shimangwe, and talking to us about what she did, how she went through the year. And it's so funny how every student that we've spoken to has definitely shared with us, what works for them differently. And also, some things that came out with Lucia's talk is that, stop cramming I think I've heard my mom say this too in the past, stop cramming yourself with information. At the same time, you have to be your own teacher, and you have to definitely know what's up with the topic before you, do anything further. And for those who did not make it so, or who didn't pass too well, as she said, it's not the end of the world. We still have a lot of self-discovery to do. Medicine might not be your thing. Engineering might not be your thing, but you never know. It could be arts. It could be vocational training. You just never know. You can still find yourselves. Okay. Well, if my son doesn't ever give me a top 10, then we're going to have a problem. We'll be back after the break. Don't go.